Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to part 2 of me reading sermon number 81 of Nahjul Balagha. Unfortunately, I had to do a part 2. I really wish I could fit it into one video, but it's quite long, and it was just the most beautiful sermon, and I wanted to dedicate it to the late President of Iran, President Ibrahim Raisi. So I'm gonna just finish off with the rest of the sermon now, inshallah. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. And be informed that you have to pass over the pathway, Sirat, where the steps waver, feet slip, and there are fearful dangers at every step. O servants of Allah, fear Allah like the fearing of a wise man whom the thought of the hereafter turns away from other matters. The fear of Allah has afflicted his body with trouble and pain. His engagement in the night prayer has turned even his short sleep into wakefulness. Hope of eternal recompense keeps him thirsty in the day. Abstention curbs his desires, and remembrance of Allah ever moves his tongue. He entertains fear before dangers. He avoids uneven ways in favor of clear ones. He follows the shortest route to secure his purpose. Wishfulness does not twist his thinking, and ambiguities do not blind his eyes. He enjoys deep sleep and passes his day happily because of the happiness of glad tidings and pleasures of eternal bounties. He passes the pathway of this world in a praiseworthy manner. He reaches the hereafter with virtues. He hastens towards virtue out of fear of committing vices. He moves briskly during the short time of life in this world. He devotes himself to seeking eternal goodness. He runs away from evil. During this day, he is mindful of tomorrow, keeping the future in view. Certainly paradise is the best reward and achievement, while hell is the appropriate punishment and suffering. Allah is the best avenger and helper. The Holy Quran is the best argument and the best to confront them. I enjoin on you fear of Allah, who has left no excuse against what he has warned, and has exhausted the argument of guidance about the right path which he has shown. He has warned you of the enemy that steals into the hearts and stealthily speaks into the ears, thereby misguiding and bringing about destruction, making false promises, and maintaining wrong impressions. He represents evil sins in attractive shapes and shows as petty even serious crimes. When deceives his comrades and exhausts the pledge, he begins to find fault with what he presents as good and considers serious what he shows as being petty, threatening about what he shows as being safe. Look at man whom Allah has created in the dark wombs and layers of curtains, and from what was overflowing semen, then a shapeless clot, then an embryo, then a suckling infant, then a child, then a fully grown man. He gave him heart with a memory, a tongue to talk, and eyes to see, so that he may take lessons from whatever is around him, understand, follow the admonition, and abstain from evil. When he attains his normal growth and his structure gains average development, he falls into self-conceit and becomes perplexed. He draws buckets of desires, becomes immersed in fulfilling his wishes for the pleasures of this world and for his sordid aims. He does not fear any evil, nor does he become frightened of any apprehension. He dies infatuated with his vices. He spends his short life in rubbish pursuits. He earns no rewards, nor does he fulfill any obligation. Fatal illness overtakes him while he is still in his enjoyments, which dazzle him. He passes in the night in the wakefulness of the hardships of grief and the pricking of pains and ailments. He suffers in the presence of a real brother, a loving father, a wailing mother, and a crying sister, while he himself is under a maddening uneasiness, serious senselessness, fearful cries, suffocating pains, anguish of suffocating, sufferings, and the pangs of death. Thereafter he is clad in shrouds, while he remains quiet and thoroughly submissive to others. Then he is placed on planks in such a state as if he had been downtrodden by hardships and reduced by ailments. The crowd of young men and helping brothers carry him to his house of loneliness, the grave, where all connections with visitors are severed. Thereafter, those who accompanied him went away, and those who were wailing for him returned home. He is made to sit in his grave for a terrifying questioning and a slippery examination. The great calamity of that place is the hot water and the entry into hell, the flames of eternal fire and the intensity of the blazes. There is no resting period, no gap for ease, no power to intervene, no death to bring about solace, and no sleep to make him forget pain. He rather lies under several kinds of deaths and moment-to-moment norms of punishment. We seek refuge with Allah. O servants of Allah, where are those who were allowed long ages to live and enjoyed bounties? They were taught and they learned. They were given time and they passed it in vain. They were kept healthy and they forgot their duty. They were allowed a long period of life, were handsomely provided, were warned of grievous punishments, and were promised great rewards. You should avoid sins that lead to destruction and vices that attract the wrath of Allah. O people who possess eyes and ears, health and wealth, is there any place of protection, any shelter of safety or asylum or haven, any occasion to run away or to come back to this world? If not, how are you then turned away? Quran, chapter 6, ayah number 95. And where are you going? By what things have you been deceived? Certainly, the share of every one of you from this earth is just a piece of land equal to his own stature and size, where he will lie on his cheeks covered with dust. The present is an opportune moment for acting. O servants of Allah, since the neck is free from the loop and the spirit is also unfettered, now you have time for seeking guidance. You are in the ease of the body. You can assemble in crowds. The rest of life is before you. You have the opportunity to act at will. There is an opportunity for repentance and peaceful circumstances, but you should act before you are overtaken by narrow circumstances and distresses, or by fear and weaknesses, before the approach of the awaited death, and before you are seized by the Almighty, the All-Powerful.